What's up, everybody? Robbie Gould here, kicking it from my house. Excited to have this guest on. Former teammate of mine and current punter for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bradley Pinion. Bradley, thanks for kicking it with me.
Yeah, man. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Hey, just living the dream out here in Chicago. Not as warm as down south where you're at, but excited to have you on the show. The big part of what I'm doing is trying to give people a platform to tell their stories and why they're successful and motivated. And I think there's three things that come to mind with you as one of my best friends. I've always admired your maturity level. You're drafted in 2015 by the 49ers in the fifth round at 20 years old. I think I was kicking when you were 10. Also, how much your faith and family drive your focus on the football field, as well as you are by far one of the biggest competitors I have ever met in my
No doubt. No doubt.
So I'm going to start with competition and the competitor in you. I've
Right.
Obviously we have a little bit of an Uno problem. The two of us competing in pregame is one of our pregame.
Well, you have a losing problem, is what
I don't know if it's losing.
you have a losing problem.
Sleep at night, that's for sure. But I always admired how competitive you were. If it's trying to chase me running on the field during conditions,
that one is true.
Or even trying to kick field goals, which you did beat me at.
Yes,
I always thought that was one of your biggest assets, was just the competitive nature. Where the heck did you get that from?
So I grew up the youngest in my family. I had an older brother who was 4 years older than me, and it was one of those situations where I just tried to keep up with him. And literally, because he was older than me, he's not more athletic than me, but because he was older than me.
Hey, we're saying the same thing. We're get there a different way.
Right. Because he was older than me, I had to really put forth a crap ton of effort, honestly. And that's just where my competitive drive came. And it was one of those things where it just kind of spoiled over into athletics for me. My brother's extremely smart. He's a physical chemist. So he got the brains of the family. I'll take the athletic ability, and I ran with it. And I really credit where I am today a lot to him, honestly, because I did have to try to keep up with him.
Is he your biggest admirer in the National Football League?
No.
No.
He could care less, to be honest with you. I'm still his little brother.
He's trying to save the world. You're trying to punt the ball inside the 5-yard line all the time.
Yeah, he works for Intel, and he's making processors on the things that we're talking on right now. So he's way out of my league.
Yeah, well, I appreciate him doing that. That's for sure.
Yes.
In Uno, I know that we started as one of our traditions we've always played. Do you still play Uno?
No, I don't. I can't do it with anybody else because I just feel bad beating up on them, and I didn't feel bad beating up on you. So it's one of those situations where I can't do that to anybody else.
Uno always made me focus and made me ultra competitive in the beginning.
Yeah.
Playing against you, but it always got me ready for the game and always calmed me down. Did it have the same effect for you?
Yeah, it kind of just calmed me down, got me kind of less stressed about. I won't say less stressed about how well we perform because we're always going to try to perform our best. But it was kind of just man, this is just another game, just like this Uno game. You can't take it too seriously. You're going to want to perform well in the competitive nature, and us wants to win. So we're going to do everything we can to win. But it just kind of calmed me, and it kind of was all right, let's just do this.
I think one of the most unique things about the whole focus conversation when it comes to the Uno and how you kind of take it in stride is your family and your faith has been one of your most important, I would say, assets in your life. Having lived with you in an off season in the Marriott Hotel and just kind of seeing how you rely on those to focus you. Tell me a little bit about, I know you have a very close-knit family, but you also you're very into the Bible studies. You're very into going to church quite often. Your wife is the same way. I know you live in the South. Tell me why that allows you to focus on the football field and why it drives you to be who you are.
So it gives me really a purpose greater than myself. If you're working for yourself, you're going to get lazy because you're going to get complacent. But I strive to kind of live my life like Christ and kind of strive to do the right thing, always give my best in every situation, give back. All these things that Christ did in the Bible is how Christians are supposed to live their life. And I've always strived to do that, whether it be, I don't know, how I treat my wife or how I treat my family or how I treat my friends. I always try to implement that.
It's something that's unique for me is you have this platform, you try to use it, right?
Yeah.
But something I thought that's always been very unique about you is when you were drafted at the age of 20, you're coming into a man's league, right? You were way mature beyond your years. You were a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee in year 3, which it took me 15 years basically to get that. Thank you to
That's
you.
another thing I beat you at. You're welcome.
You did do it first. You're welcome. But I think like that faith, the family, and the maturity, it all kind of ties together.
Yeah.
You're talking about something that doesn't happen often. You're 25 years old right now.
Hmm.
I was playing with you as a teammate when you're 23, 24 years old. And the initiatives you have in the community, the maturity that you showed toward learning football and the details, I mean, was absolutely incredible to me. I've never seen a 20-year-old kid basically have that kind of maturity like a 35-year-old. Tell me a little bit about the initiatives you have going on in the charity world, and why that's important to your platform and to like the core of who you are.
Yeah, so I firmly believe, again, deeply rooted in my faith, that I was given the ability to play football to give back and to have this platform and to serve other people, not because of he wants the glory on me, he wants the glory on him. So right now we actually have a lot, a lot going on. The huge one that we're doing right now, I'll start with it, is Convoy of Hope. Um, we did it in San Francisco, but we're also trying to implement it in Tampa, where we put together an event around Christmas time every year. And it does it all. It gives shoes, it gives clothes, books, toys. I get to dress up as Santa, which is like the coolest thing in the entire world.
I mean,
Haircuts.
you're 240 pounds. You love cookies.
Hey, the milk and the cookies is what gives it, like, what makes it for me. But it's like you see these kids and these families that might be a little less fortunate than we are, and you see the smile that gets put on their face around this time of the holiday season, and you can't beat it, honestly. I mean, you can kick game-winning field goals, you can have monster punts that are from like the deep in the end zone, and you flip the field, but nothing beats that feeling of when you see someone who may have never gotten a new pair of shoes before put on a new pair of shoes for the first time, and it's just to me, you can't beat that, and that's kind of where it all comes from. My family was very giving. We were very fortunate growing up, and it got instilled in me at an early age. And then being a Christian and marrying the woman I married, Kaylee, she's marrying the woman I married. But Convoy of Hope's a big one we got going on right now. So we're working on doing the same event basically in Tampa. In San Fran, it grew to 2,500 people every year, right around that range. We're going to scale it back when we start in Tampa, just because we have to start small to get big, basically. So we're doing that in Tampa this year. Another initiative we have is we're really big on animals and adoption for dogs. We had just adopted our 4th dog. Little man has 3 legs, actually. His name's Nemo, ironically. But so we have a program that's called Punts for Pups that we just started this past year. And for every punt inside the 20-yard line, we go to the local shelter in Hillsborough County, Tampa, and we sponsor a dog. We partnered with a company called Modern Paws in Tampa. They're a local pet store. You get a goodie bag from Modern Paws. You get the dog for free. All you gotta do is go adopt them. And we actually personally go in and play with these dogs every off day. Pick the dogs personally, not just like sending the money. No, we're going in, we're hands-on with it. And we had a 16 for 16 success rate last year, which was fantastic. And we're looking forward to doing it again next year.
Speaking of Tampa, you guys got a little excitement going on down there.
Just a smid bit, just a tad bit.
Yeah, you got a couple new guys, Brady and Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Kind of tough. You guys are going through this offseason, not being able to be in there and kind of see the tone that they're going to set. I played with Brady as a rookie, so I know exactly what you're going to go through and how the attention to detail is going to be. What are you looking forward to most with those two coming in the locker room?
Just honestly, the leadership and the culture of winning that they bring. I played at Clemson and I was very used to winning. And then I got into the NFL and I've yet to have a winning season. So it was that culture from Clemson that was being built in San Fran when I was there. You could see it being built. And obviously, y'all crushed it this year. And then the same thing, we're getting there, and we've added the right pieces this year. But just that culture of winning and the way I have a very old school mentality because I played with you, and then I also played with Phil Dawson, who's even older than you.
Only like 35 years of experience.
Only, right? So I had this very old school mentality that I credit to y'all too, and just to kind of get that from more guys, I'm super pumped for.
What was the biggest moments that you took away from either Phil and I that would have set you on the right path, or would your path be different if you had a young group coming in the NFL?
I think it'd been totally different. And you and Phil, the way y'all do things are totally different. And you're two of the most successful kickers to ever do it. So like Phil was very like strict to the point, had to do X, Y, Z, very kind of like superstitious, very this, very that. And I picked up on a lot. He was also very rooted in his faith. So like that transformed over into me also. And then you got to you where you were like very loose, like to have fun, but you were going to get your business done, and your business came first before you had fun. So, but the two common denominators for both of y'all were like, you know what, this is my life. This is my job. Um, it's my 9 to 5. It's not just like when you're in the building. It's also when you're out of the building. Or it's not just a teammate. It's going to be a family member. Like the team is the family. And getting that from both of y'all has really set me up, honestly, to where I am in Tampa now, where I am the veteran in the room. I had 2 rookies in my room last year. So it was kind of like honestly an easy transition because every time I got in a situation where I'd be like, all right, I got to make a leader decision here, I'd be like, what would Robbie do? What would Phil do? Oh, this is easy. And then I would just run with it. So that I would say the valuable lessons I learned from y'all are to one, not take it too seriously, and to two, have fun doing it, and three, work your tail off.
Yeah, I always, for me, whenever I was uptight, I always played the worst game that I could possibly play. When I was loose, having fun, I mean, two of the best years of my entire career were with you and
Yeah.
Nelly. And I think a lot of it had to do with, besides your guys' handshake after every kick, that
Every kick. Best handshake you ever see too. You should watch it on film. If you haven't seen it, go watch it on film.
and they can't. It's 30 minutes long. I always appreciated just kind of the work ethic that you had, and it was easy to bring you along, but also you took me under your wing.
Yeah.
I would go out to the field and be like, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna kick the ball here." You're like, "No, you're gonna kick it over here."
Yeah.
You're kind of like my caddy, and it was kind of fun because I could always know that I could rely on you for the information to kind of set me on that tone and be like, "No, you're kicking it like this today. Go do that."
Well, I remember the first time we ran out onto the field. I don't remember. It was a kick in our home stadium, and you came to me and was like, "Where should I play this?" And I was like, "Dude, why are you asking me? You're the goat of kicking field goals. What are you doing?" And I was like, "Down the middle."
I was like, dude, you've seen more kicks than I have in this stadium, and I've only got a chance to really kick here 3 times. I figured
Yeah,
if I miss, I could just blame it on you anyways. So,
perfect. You're gonna blame it on me or Nelly anyway, so it didn't matter
I mean, usually it was going to be more you than Nelly, just
for
because.
sure.
Tell me about your biggest adversity you've ever faced as a person or a player. You pick.
Uh, I'll go as a person because I mean, adversity in football is gonna come and go. It's kind of like just every game you're gonna have adversity. But as a person with my parents splitting, and that was kind of one of the reasons I became so mature so quick. They split in 7th grade, and that adversity of my brother had just went off to college because he was 4 years older than me, and I was still at home, so I was like the man of the house, and I had to be the man of the house quickly because my dad moved probably like an hour away, and I ended up staying with my mom in the school that I was at, and so I had to become like I'd become a man, and then also they had it set up where I would go week to week, so I'd spend a week at my mom's and a week at my dad's, and I'd lived out of a suitcase for probably I don't know, 4 years basically. And it kind of set me up for the NFL life because you're literally week here, week there, week here, right there. So it was like God knew what he was doing when he did it. But that was probably the biggest adversity in my life that really molded me kind of into who I am today. Just going through that, having to mature very quickly to where it'd be like, all right, I got to get home to mow the grass because I'm not going to let my mom mow the grass, or I got to get home to do these things. As like a freshman in high school, I was doing that. So it kind of transitioned over into um, my relationship with my wife, and then also my relationship with my teammates and the way I go about my business.
Yeah, I always look back at the memories we had for 2 years, and I mean, we roomed together for an entire off season.
Lord help both of us.
I probably try to wake up in the middle of the night several times to get this kung fu fighting.
Okay, so this is a great story. It's got to be
I'm a
told.
protect my house conversation, and as like you're talking about having to be a man, I feel like I have to protect my house.
Yes, literally, we're sleeping in the middle of the night. We took a weekend trip to Yosemite because neither one of us had seen Yosemite, and we're sleeping in the same room, different beds, same room, different beds. And I just got done talking to my wife. Robbie had already fallen asleep. And I set my phone on the table and it kind of makes like a clunk sound, kind of like that. And he comes out of the bed like kung fu hands ready, ready to beat the living out of me. And I'm like, dude, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And he was like, oh, okay. But then the next day, he wakes up and he was like, did I jump out of the bed ready to fight you last night? And I'm like, yes, I about crapped myself.
Curled up in a ball, just and
Yes.
it's from a 180-pound place kicker. If you could tell anything to your younger self, what
Mhm.
advice would you tell your younger self?
I'm only 25, so I'm still
I
young.
was kicking in the National Football League when you were 10, pretty much. So
Younger self, um, don't be afraid of your dreams, because you always have the dream of doing these things. Like every kid wants to be an NFL player, every kid wants to be NBA, MLS, whatever it might be. You want to play that sport. Like that's just like a young boy's dream. I'd say don't be afraid of your dreams, but don't be afraid to work for your dreams, because dreaming is one thing and then making it a reality is another, and the making the reality part is where people don't really see it. They see you on Sundays and they see the Instagram and they see the social media and they see the Zoom calls that make it look cool with all your guitars in the background and the grand piano and all these things, and like you got the Clemson letters and all these helmets and everything over there.
all your wife's stuff up back there. She's a more
Yeah,
talented
yeah.
person than you.
Well, no, you see, you have a grand. This is the difference between punter and kicker salary. He has a grand piano and I have a keyboard. But anyways,
It was a gift.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, just those. Don't be afraid to work for it, and put those blood, sweat, and tears in, and you'll appreciate it down the road.
Yeah, I love the fact that you shared your story with obviously me and hopefully my following and your following and everyone in Tampa. I love having people be able to use their platform and tell their stories and really drive to show and see what motivation is or how people have become successful. And from my heart, I appreciate your friendship and I appreciate you coming on and telling your story. And I know that comes from the heart and it's just very sincere from you. So thanks for kicking it with me and good luck this year.
Appreciate it, bro.